5 functions, lesson 6. We're going to review how to write a linear function. First, a little bit of vocabulary. Remember that a linear function is a function whose graph is a non-vertical line. A linear function can be written of the form y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. You can also write it as f of x equals mx plus b. Some important vocabulary. Remember that domain is the set of all inputs to a function. The range is the set of all outputs. Those are your y values of a function. Independent variable is another name for the input variable, and the dependent variable is another name for the output variable, which would be your x and your y, your domains, your possible x's, your ranges, your possible y's. When we write an equation of a line, we need to do 3 steps. Step 1, find the slope. Step 2, find the y-intercept, which here where we've got a graph, we can just locate it right there. And step 3, you write the equation, y equals mx plus b. And here where the slope was 3/2 and the intercept was -3, it's just y equals 3/2 x minus 3. Okay, we're going to write several equations in this video. We just need to find slope and intercept and then write the equation. Finding slope here from -1 to 0 is +1. From 5 to 3 is -2. The slope is change in y over change in x, so the slope is -2. The y-intercept is 3. With that information, we're good to go. Y equals -2x plus 3 is the equation of the line represented in the table. Okay, write the equation of this line. The y-intercept is -1, that's where it crosses the y-axis. The slope is down 1 over 2. So the slope is -1/2. This gives us the equation, y equals -1/2 x minus 1. And of course, that could be written in function notation with an f of x, and that would be completely okay. Okay, next, on this one, to find the slope, the outputs go up 0 and the inputs go up by 1. That gives a slope of 0. And the y-intercept is 2. So this is y equals 0x plus 2. 0x doesn't need to be written. So you can just put y equals 2. Or, of course, f of x equals 2. All right, this next one, when we're doing an equation from a graph, we want to do some lattice points here. And the slope is down 2 over 3. And the y-intercept is right up here at 4. So this is y equals -2/3 x plus 4, and that is the equation of that blue line. Now this collection of dots, we start with the slope of down 3 over 2. The y-intercept is right here at -4. So this will be y equals -3/2, that's the slope, x minus 4 because that's the y-intercept. Okay, now for the green line. First, the y-intercept is at -4. The slope is, from -4 to 4 is up 8. From 0 over to 3 is over 3. So this is 8/3 for a slope. And the intercept is -4. So this will be y equals 8/3 x minus 4. Or f of x equals 8/3 x minus 4. You could have a y as well. Now for this purple line, the equation is going to include a y-intercept of 50. And then you go down 50 and over 10. That gives us a slope of -5. This makes the equation y equals -5x plus 50. Okay. Couple more examples. This one, find the slope. The inputs change by going not up, actually down 2. The inputs go up by 6. So the slope is -3. The intercept is 15. So this is y equals -3x plus 15. Next one, the slope, these go up by 1, these go down by 1. So the slope is 1 over -1, which is just -1. The y-intercept, if we follow it back to 0, we would find the y-intercept is actually 0. This gives us y equals -x plus 0, which is just y equals -x. Okay, next example. To go from 6 to 4, that's down 2. Going from -1 to 1, that's up 2. That gives us a slope of -1 when we do change in y over change in x. The y-intercept is not obvious, so let's go ahead and do y. Because we don't have an input of 0, we could find it right there. It does end up being 5, but I'm going to go do it the good old-fashioned way, the backup method. I can write the equation with the slope in it, y equals -1x plus b. Let's plug in a point, maybe this one. 0 for x, 5 for y. And when we do that, we just get the y-intercept of 5. This gives us y equals -x plus 5. Next example, the y's go up by 2, the x's go down by 10. That gives us a slope of -1/5. The y-intercept is not obvious, so we'll go ahead and write the equation without the y-intercept. We'll plug in one of the points. Let's do 90 and 1. This is 1. -1/5 of 90 plus 18. That's plus b. That's -18, which we can add to both sides. And we get a y-intercept of 19. That makes the answer for this one, y equals -1/5 x plus 19. Okay, on the assignment, quick preview on that. On the number 1, the first 3, you're going to write an equation from a graph. On number 2, you've got 3 where you need to write an equation from a table. Then we've got the review problem, solve for y, do a transformation and tell me what kind of transformation it is. That was back in Unit 2. There's a situation problem with a few questions, includes graphing. And number 6 is another situation problem. Just follow the instructions there and answer the questions. Number 7, you need to figure out how many dots are in the 10th figure and then the nth figure. When it says nth figure, it's referring to, basically you're treating it like an input of n, the number of dots given the figure number. And what would you have to do to the figure number? Like 3, 2, or 1. What would you have to do to 1 to get 5 dots? What would you do to 2 to get 8 dots? What would you do to 3 to get 11 dots? And then number 8, you complete that table so that it ends up being a linear function.